Hi, I'm Amy Ludwig Vanderwater. Welcome to Keeping a Notebook, Day 15, and Roll the Dice, Day 3. This is Betsy the Writing Camper. I'll be sitting right by those pillows, speaking to you. For the past 11 years, I have held an April poetry project at my blog, The Poem Farm, one poem each day, around a yearly theme. For this year's poetry project, I have decided to introduce surprise. Each April day, I will share a poem's can phrase about writing poetry. I will roll 3 word dice. If a die rolls blank, I will not re-roll it, and I will write a poem inspired by 1, 2, or all 3 of the face-up words. Today's writing chat is titled, Roll the Dice, Poems Can Tell a Story.
It is time to roll the dice here. I'll choose 1, 2, 3 dice. Give them a big roll. See what we get. I can't see from there, so turn it here. We have unruly, flock, and a blank. Unruly, flock, and a wild card, or our choice, any word we wish. Happy writing.
Hi, friends. It is day 3 of National Poetry Month and Roll the Dice. It is good to see you. Big high five. Today, our words are unruly, flock, and we had a wild card. And today's poems can phrase is poems can tell a story. So many things can happen in a poem, and one thing a poem can do is to tell a story. It could be a big story, or a poem can tell a little tiny story. And so today, as I've been doing the past few days, I took the words and I had unruly and flock, and then we had a wild card, which means we really just had 2 words, and we could pick any word for the third. But of course, we could choose any words in the whole world. No one needs to stick with these words. I'm doing it just as a little challenge. So I wrote down what I've been doing is looking up the words. And so unruly, it also means disorderly or disruptive or not submissive or wild or rowdy. Sometimes people call hair unruly. A flock is a number of birds, or one kind of birds that nest or feed or are traveling together. And so I thought about those, and then I thought about Little Mouse, because I am writing my poems, at least so far, all about Little Mouse. This may stay the same. It may change. Sometimes writing takes its own path. But I wrote a little thinking down here to myself. Would Little Mouse have an unruly burrow? Maybe disorderly, but not unruly. Would she have unruly fur? Well, mouse fur is short, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. A group of birds is called a flock. A group of mice, I loved this. A group of mice is called a mischief. I thought I might write a lot about that. So Little Mouse would probably like to watch flocks of Canada geese migrating back for spring. Would she want to ride? Would she long for such freedom? Would a goose seem enormous to her? So then I started taking whatever idea. Usually what I do is I make a lot of notes, and then whatever idea just feels the most interesting to me, that's the one I start drafting. And then sometimes partway through, something else seems more interesting, but this is what I started writing. Not everybody knows a group of mice is called a mischief, and not everybody, and then I stopped that. So then here I wrote, and this is hard for me to read. Look how crossy-outy that is. But I will do my best. I called it, at the end, I ended up calling it murmuration. A murmuration is a big flock of starlings. I suggest you look that word up, murmuration, and watch a video or 2 because it's a stunning sight to see a murmuration. Murmuration. Little Mouse pokes her nose from her hole into April air. Just a twitch, just enough to sniff spring. She looks out of her circle window. Little Mouse, she sees a murmuration, a ballet, a bird ballet in sky. Little Mouse closes her little mouse eyes and imagines she can fly. Now, I don't think I actually read this to you exactly the way it is, but I will have a typed copy at the Poem Farm blog, which is where I'm keeping the typed copies from all month. So today, our words were unruly and flock, and then of course we had a wild card word, and we are thinking that poems we know they can go down the page from day 1. Day 2, we talked about how poems can play with space, and today we're thinking about how poems can tell a story. So think about maybe a character or a problem. And if you choose one of these words, perhaps you'll try having a poem tell a story. And then again, maybe you won't because you are the poet. So it's wonderful to see you. I'll see you tomorrow. Take good care. Have a lovely day. And here you can see my writing about the words unruly and flock and the draft of my poem on the right-hand side. And yes, Little Mouse has returned for poem number 3. So once again, today's roll the dice words are unruly and flock, and a wild card word. Thank you for joining me on the 3rd day of National Poetry Month. I hope you find some great poems to read today.